G'day all. Doomben race 3 in 5 minutes. How do I get there? Sup, Big Dave? What's going on? Josh, what's going on? Is anyone's tab stream? Doomben race 3 in 3 minutes though. Let's go. What's a day response? Yeah, the Discord's just kicked off a little bit with all that sort of chat. I'm trying to bring it on the live. Try and calm everyone down a little bit. I saw JP was typing in the Discord though, so I'm expecting a sermon any sort of second here. Maybe an essay, not a sermon. There it is. Speaking of the devil, JP's. It's not an essay, but it was coming. JP, the Pope of match betting, yeah. John Paul III. Or missed any other comments here? 200 runners. Fucking hell. Tough day. What's a day, mate? Tab's been hopeless all day, yeah. Shocking. Doing my head in. JP, income and spray. I'm scared. Yeah. He's always watching as well. Always listening. Well, they have come for Artful Girl here. So someone commented in the Discord saying, not going to keep paying $100 a month for shit tips, so I'm out. Feel as though the system is becoming stagnant. Enjoy the rest of your life, boys and girls. PS, start showing the day's results. Hold yourselves accountable. JP, fully saddens me reading this. Unfortunately, until your mindset is right, is focused on the long term, understand bankroll, units, variance, edge, you simply cannot be successful in anything, and the reality is the majority of humans will struggle with this. Just wish more people grasped this quicker. For those of you who do, legit, you're in the top 1% of humans, but where are we? A system that prints money that is mathematically impossible to lose long term, right in front of you, and choosing to be so focused on a tiny period of time. It's hard to witness. For those reading this, use Greg as an example. Greg, of an example of what happens when your mindset is focused on the short term. If you accept that you have 100 units of bankroll, you are here for 12 months, you simply don't care about today, next week, next month. Saturday, 6 of 52. Finn Watson reading the cord chat, and it's like he doesn't want to make consistent profit off your trot, Greg Tyson Richard. No, I mean, like, I don't, like, I'm not taking the piss out of him, and I don't think anyone should be taking the piss out of him. Like, that's reality. That's just, unfortunately, what happens. Greg, I've had a quick look, has been here since August. He's made 144 units profit in that time in August, September, October, November, December, January, 6.5 months. He wouldn't have followed for the first couple of weeks. Basically, call it 6 months, he's made 144 units profit. And, you know, I imagine that's probably on an average of a $20 unit size, probably looking at around $3,000 profit. Not too sure if he was a punter beforehand, but he's, you know, he's going to be $3,000 in profit, and unfortunately he's too fixated on the last sort of 6 weeks. And what happens, I guess, is then like a confirmation bias is made. It's like, oh, nah, you know, the system's broken. Yes, it used to work. He's obviously acknowledging that the system used to work in his opinion, but now he thinks that it's broken, and unfortunately he's, you know, that's enough. That's his tolerance. His tolerance has been crossed, and he can't handle it. But you know, unfortunately, we've seen it time and time again. I like personally, like there's been times where I'm like, oh well, you know, I hate to say it, but we're, you know, a big fill up, let's call it, is around the corner. But you know, sometimes you just got to wait a little bit longer. You just got to be a little bit more patient. And the ones who are patient ultimately are the ones who win. And everyone has a tolerance, that's for sure. Here we go. We got a race here. We got 1 unit Kibosh, 1 unit Artful Girl here. Number 4 and 10. Kibosh is, where's Artful Girl? Artful Girl is probably going to sneak a second. Kibosh is going to win by about 5 lengths. Kibosh, 1 unit winner on Kibosh, and we got a bonus on Artful Girl there. John Smith, I'll respond to that comment in a second, mate. We got Caulfield Race 5 straight after, so I probably won't be able to respond to that comment straight away, mate. Kibosh, 1 unit. What did everyone get it at? 260 by the look of things. Artful Girl, 1 unit. I think it was about 440. Who cares? It placed. Yeah, I'll respond to that comment in a second, John. And if there's any other comments, I'll respond in a sec. But Caulfield Race 5 coming up here. We got a 1 unit play. Yeah. Fucking hell. Caulfield. John Smith. Hey, John, so I have JP telling me mathematics like it means something. Right, I'm just going to make sure I haven't missed anything here. So, law of large numbers, John, essentially the law of large numbers. What the law of large numbers means, as Josh has pointed out. Max, I'll get to your question in a sec. Max, I'll answer your question first because it's a bit simpler. If you want to change to a 3 monthly max, you can do that through the website. Just go and manage your subscription and you can upgrade to a 3 monthly, and however much is left over, like whatever you've got currently left on your monthly membership will just like go into your 3 monthly, so we'll pro rata it. So if you're halfway through your current month, you've got like equivalent of like $40 left or $50 left. That'll just be put towards your 3 monthly, so then it'll just be deducted off the price. Hopefully that makes sense. Send us a message if you can't work it out. I'll send you coaching messages, but it's just go manage subscription in the member section of your website. It's pretty, you'll work it out. John Smith. So yeah, law of large numbers. There's a couple of things here that Josh has pointed out: expected value, law of averages, and law of large numbers. Basically, the reason an average, they're all very interrelated, what Josh has just said there, like averages, law of large numbers, expected value. So I'll start probably with expected value. Expected value essentially means that if you, let's look at a coin toss. The expected value of a coin toss, hang on, sorry, I'm watching the race here. We're on Young Werther here. Jonss's got a good jump. Number 1. Young Werther. 1 unit at 270. Only 1 unit on this race. 7 runners, lack of bookie coverage. Jonss leading, Young Werther sitting 1 out, 1 back. We'd put the races on the live as well, but YouTube doesn't like that. Dogs. Let's crank some B. Young Werther's peeled. I think Young Werther is not going to win. It's cooked. Jonss might be home. Beyonce is home, and I reckon we've been pipped for 3rd there. I reckon we've finished 4th. Next race, Randwick, race 5 at 250 is the next race. Oh, hang on. What have I missed here? I love you, Steve. What a day, Smith. Thanks, mate. Love you too. On the Werther, yeah, we're on the Werther. I was sort of mumbling a little bit there. I was trying to do a few things at once. But John Smith, are you still there? I don't know if you're still there. Werther got 3rd, you reckon? I reckon it got pipped, but might have. Oh, it did. You beauty. Yeah, I don't know if anyone wants to hear me mumble on about expected value or anything. If John Smith, if you're not here, I'll probably pass it unless other people want to listen to that boring shit. But happy to explain it. How's sports been going? Big plans for the... Okay, Mitch. Big plans for the footy season in a few weeks. Yeah, big plans. Sports will be kicking off. Oh, you're still here, John? All right. So I'll explain. I'll try to explain it. Am I the only one in the office, Finn? Yes, I am the only one in the office. So law of large numbers. Essentially what the law of large numbers is that, I don't know if you've heard the term sample size, right? Like you can't trust, if you have data, right, and it says that something should happen, and it should happen 80% of the time. If you only have one event, say there's an 80% chance of rain tomorrow. If you only look at, that's maybe a bad example, but like if there was 100 days, if there was 100 tomorrows, 80% or 80 of those days there would be rain. That's what 80% chance of rain means, right? Like obviously there's a 20% chance it won't rain, and so therefore 20 of tomorrows, if that makes sense, there won't be rain. But obviously the larger that number is, the more likely that the predicted outcome is going to be. Yeah, here we go. You can, what's Dane said, imagine a coin flip pays $3, you can 3 times and lose. That doesn't mean it's not a 50-50, you can 3 times Yeah, correct. Probably easier using a coin flip. Coin flip's 50-50. If you flip a coin 3 times and it comes up heads, 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 it doesn't mean that like that coin is rigged or anything. It doesn't mean that it's not a 50-50 coin. It doesn't mean that it's a 100 heads, 0 tails coin. Even though it's come up 3 times heads and 0 times tails, you know in the long term tails is eventually going to come back. But you need a big enough sample size for that to happen. And you can test these things easily. Like I don't know if anyone's used, like for people who are Excel wizards, you can literally do like use the random feature in Excel. Probably getting a little bit complicated here. But I won't go down that path. But essentially, if you flip a coin 50 times, you're probably going to get, say, like 26-24 or 27-23 or 25-25 in terms of heads or tails. But if you flip a coin 100 times, it's going to be a lot closer to a 50-50 split. It might be 49-51, 50-50, 48-52 maybe. If you do it 1,000 times, it's going to be 501, 499. So essentially, the more you do it, the bigger that sample size gets, the closer you get to a 50-50 coin, because that is literally the law of large numbers. There's actually a really interesting documentary that explains the law of large numbers. And it is this study. I don't know where I watched it. I don't know if it was on Netflix. I have a feeling it wasn't. But it was a study done where it was like a carnival game. You know how you get those games where you get like a jar of jelly beans, and it's like guess the amount of jelly beans in this jar, and whoever gets closest to the number wins the jar of jelly beans, right? These people walked around with a jar of jelly beans, and let's say there was 654 jelly beans in it. They walked around and asked a bunch of people how many they thought, and even people guessing just looking at it, the more people they asked, the bigger the sample size they got, the closer they got to the exact number on average of everyone's answers. So they asked 10 people, some people said 200, some people said 400, some people said 1,000, some people said 5,000. But once they asked, they needed to ask like 1,500 people or 2,000 people, the average of all of their answers ended up being how many jelly beans was actually in the jar, which proves sort of the law of large numbers. The more people you ask, the more events that happens, the more predictable that the outcome, like whatever you predict to happen, whatever the chances of it happening, the more realistic that chance comes. So when that comes back to the system averages, say, 29 units a month on average profit. When's the next race? 250. Yeah. So so it averages 29 units profit a month. Now, if it gets one month it gets 5 units, 1 month it gets 20 units, 1 month it gets 30 units, 1 month it goes -5 units. Like the average of that might be 15 units profit across those 4 months. But if you do it for another 12 months after that, the average will go closer to 29 units. It might be 27 units, and then another 12 months on top of that, it will be 28 units. Another 12 months on top of that, the average will come out to 29 units. Yeah, I don't know, sort of just rambling on a little bit. Hopefully that helps, John. I don't know if it did. I think the coin flip is in terms of expected value, using a coin flip is probably the best example. Or like maybe a more relatable example is like if you use a handicap market. You know how the bookies will offer like handicap, over-unders for total points, or, just on the game handicap. And it'll be like Carlton v GWS, Carlton -6.5, GWS +6.5. Now that essentially means that they think that if they give Carlton a 6.5 point lead, then they give GWS a 6.5 point lead. They think that's a 50-50 game. They consider that a coin flip game. That means with GWS getting a goal advantage, they think it's a 50-50 game. In 100,000 infinite events of that game, if the game was to be played 100 times or 1,000 times, Carlton would win 50% of the time, GWS would win 50% of the time. If that's the handicap, that's what the bookies' algorithms determine, and their traders and all that sort of jazz. Now, they only offer $1.90 odds, right? Even though it's a 50% chance of happening, they only offer $1.90. So if it's a 50% chance of happening, in the long term, you should be doubling your money if you back a winner, right? It's a 50-50 chance of happening. So you've got a 50% chance of winning, a 50% chance of losing. So when you do win, you should be doubling your money, exactly doubling your money, because you put $10 down.
If it wins, you get back $20. You make $10 profit, and you've taken the $10 profit of the other person who's backed the opposite of your side. So if you back Carlton minus 6.5, put $10 on, someone else backs GWS plus 6.5, the Carlton bet wins, you win $10, the person who bets on GWS, they lose $10. That's a completely fair market. There's no profit is gone to the bookies, there's no edge missing, it's all completely fair. One person basically bets for GWS, one person bets for Carlton, 50-50% chance of happening, you take their money, it's a completely even playing field. There's no expected value there. The expected value is zero. To work out what the expected value is, it's literally a formula. It's the chance of something happening multiplied by the return that you get, I think, something like that. And so if you're only getting 90 cents, or if it's $1.90 and you put $10 down, you're only getting $19 back. So you've put $10 down, it's a 50-50 chance of happening, but you only get $9 back. So you're going to win every second time. So one time you're going to lose $10, one time you're going to win $9. One time you're going to lose $10, one time you're going to win $9. And over time, you lose $10 50% of the time and you win $9 50% of the time. That means you lose in the long term, because if you place 100 bets, 50% of the time you're going to lose $10, so you're going to lose $500 there. 50% of the time you're going to win $9, so you're going to win whatever it is, what did I say? 50 times 9, $450 back. But you've lost 500, you've gained 450, you've lost 50 overall. Probably a little bit confusing, I don't know, but that's essentially expected value. So in that instance there, the expected value is negative, because in the long term, if you place the bet infinite times over the law of large numbers, you're going to get the expected result, because you've done it enough times that the law of large numbers means that probability will do what probability suggests it will do. Essentially, that's how you can think of the law of large numbers. It basically says that if you do something long enough, probability will be correct. The mathematics will be correct. The mathematics says that you will lose 10 cents or $1 for every time you place a $10 bet on Carlton. I'm just sort of making these numbers up over the long term. Yeah, anyway, rambling on a little bit, but I'll probably leave it there. I don't know if that made any sense. Was it John? We'll probably leave it there though. That's probably bored the living shit out of people. I guess positive EV on the flip side is literally if, you know how you, like, I don't know if, you can essentially think of like positive EV as like your ROI, your return on investment. So it's not exactly the same thing, but if you have positive EV and you do something long enough, that is, you do something for a long enough period of time where your sample size is large enough, then you will have a positive return on investment. If you have negative EV, you lose money, you have a negative return on investment. No one wants that. Overall, the system, if you look at our sort of long-term results, and you consider a 65% bonus turnover with all of our bonuses received, it's like I think it's about a 15.5% ROI. So that means that for every single dollar that you place following the system, with the system structure, turning over your bonus bets when you get a bonus bet, for every single dollar you place, you will get 15 cents profit. So that means we have a positive EV of 1.15, I think, or 15. I don't know exactly the metric they use for positive EV, to be honest. It's just a number. 1.15, I'd call it. So for every dollar, you get $1.15 back. You get 15 cents profit. So if you place $100 worth of bets following the system, in the long term, on average, you will make $115 profit. Now, there's going to be some days where you lose $100. There's going to be some days where you lose $60. There's going to be some days where you lose $40. There's going to be some days where you win $400. But on average, every single day, if you add up all of those results, divide it by the number of times the number of days, even though we don't like talking about days, on average, you will return, $115 from $100 outlaid. So then you scale it up. Well, let's do it. Let's outlay $1,000. Then you get $1,150 back. Let's outlay $10,000. whatever it is, $1,500 profit, $100,000, $15,000 profit. You're just scaling up your operations. So when people, I guess, when there is a period where, there's negative variance, variance essentially, no, I'm not going to explain what variance is, but when there's a period that is testing people's, emotions, do you like G-Shock watches? Nah, I have no idea what G-Shock watches are, man. Casio Go. I'm on the Garmin's at the moment. I just got a Garmin. It's not too bad. But don't know if I'd wear a Casio, to be honest, Dane. Doesn't it all it do is just tell the time? Like, I don't really want to watch to tell me the time. G'day, Max. How are you, mate? Randwick Race 5 coming up here. It's my alarm. Let me know that a race is coming soon. Isn't that what a watch is for? Bro, what's the time though? Yeah, exactly. Wait, what? Yeah, pull your phone out if you want to know the time. Why do you need to wear it on your wrist? I literally wear a Garmin for like sleep stats and fitness stats and golf stats and stuff. I don't use it for the time. I don't reckon I've looked at it once for the time. Why do you need to know the time, Dane? Surely when the sun comes up, you wake up, sun goes down, you go to sleep, and whatever happens in between happens. Yeah. I mean, it's okay, the health stuff, but like, fuck. You just end up need to know when the next race is. Yeah, that's fair enough. That is important. People at Randwick or in Sydney in general should bloody wear a watch because they never know when the fucking next race is. Although they've been on time today, which is nice. Sometimes they're like 5 minutes delayed every race. Does my head in. Randwick race 5. Yeah, I agree, Dane. Respond in a sec though. Mind is on the job. What, do you have any? G'day, Mick. How are you, mate? Do you invest in watches, Dane? You were wearing a nice bling one when we met up, from memory. Could have been fake though. I have no idea though. But you would have had me fooled. You had the diamond chain. Lenny had a rip-off Rolex Submariner. He said If he knew that though, it was just a normal watch, he said. Yeah. No idea what that means. What do you mean he knew? He knew that he was wearing a fake watch? Is that what you're saying? He had a diamond chain. That's gangster. Yeah, no, definitely. I agree that watches are a businessman move. They're just a flex, a status. And that is important for some people. Some people won't respect you unless you're wearing nice clothes. Which I don't know how I feel about that. It's not something that we really care about, but sign of authority. Yeah. We've actually had a very interesting experience. Flex, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sign of authority and flex sort of goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Why should we pay for the tips if you only really pick the favourites? You don't have to pay for it, man, but we have a system in place that wins long term. I don't think you're actually necessarily being a smart ass. What's a day, Smith? What's a day, Smith? Yeah, well, Dane's answering it for me, but Gently Rolled has been absolutely hammered in here. Yeah, man, like yeah. I guess you could answer this from a different angles. Yeah, the system, we aren't just a tipping service. It's annoying, it actually annoys us that we get seen as just a tipping service. But I guess that's sort of the way that it works in the industry, is that it's just all about tips. Most other services are all about you sign up, you get the tips, and that's it. We're a system, like we're a service. We're not a tipping service, we're a straight up service, an investment service. We're not a gambling service because we win long term. But you know, you get a coach, you get taught what to do. It's more about like the tips are like the top 10% of what we do here. You know, you get a personal coach, you get education, you get taught how to set up your accounts, you get taught how to turn over your bonus bets, you become part of the community. There's a lot more than just selecting horses to win long term. You know, you need to understand how to outlay the right amount of units per horse. What are we on here? Number 7, Gently Rolled. Where are we? The grey horse. Been on a couple of grey horses. It's a big boy. Get out, will ya? Oh no, we're not. Where am I looking? I'm looking at the wrong horse. Oh, Dakota Vroom's coming for it. Hold on. Yeah, I think that's holding on. Good boy. What was that? Randwick, race 5, Gently Rolled. 1 unit at, what was it? 235 it jumped out. That's ridiculous. 270, 280, 290, 270, 280. Oh. We'll chuck it at 280, I think. As a Positive Vibes got 250. That's stiff. Maybe, yeah, some people got $3, some people got 250. That horse got full on smoked in. I'll chuck it at 270. Yeah, 10% of the service. Well, it is really. I mean, but that's the only way to make money is on the tips. Gently Rolled is kicking, not necessarily once you've got the skills, you can find opportunity practice. That's the only way to make money is on the tips. Well, yeah, I mean, for sure. But I guess if you say that the only way to make money is on the tips, therefore the tips is what we do and that's the value that we bring, that would be like saying that, what's an example? That would be like saying Nike Nah, fuck, I don't know. Like, that'd be like saying that, what's an example? You know, that, think of it like it's literally an iceberg. Obviously, I can't think of like a more relatable example, but there is an iceberg. You've got the tip of the iceberg, and that's what you see is the tips. There's 90% of things underneath the surface that you need to be on top of. If you don't have the correct money management, if you don't have the correct mindset, if you don't have accounts set up, if you don't know how to sustain your accounts, if you don't know how to turn over a bonus bet, if you don't know how to remain disciplined, then you could have the best fucking tips in the world. It does not matter. You're not gonna be able to win. It's reality. Like, I'm seeing if I've missed any. Josh, mate, I'm asking Steve, not you. Mate, Dane's a very smart fella. Who is What's a Day Smith? I don't. Are you a member? I'm not sure. The fact that your name is What's a Day makes me think that you are a member. Or maybe a bit of a. You don't really seem like a troll. You seem a bit. You seem pretty genuine, but. Yeah, like gamblers themselves aren't bad at picking horses. At the end of the day, like it's fucking probability. Yeah, I know. I feel like you are curious. That's why I'm not being like curious, George. I don't know if you are now. Then you make a comment like that. I don't know. Yeah. Well, like what? Do you not understand? Like I'm saying exactly what Dane is saying. Doomben in 4 minutes. In 2 minutes. Hang on. This thing's fucking distracting. Doomben supposed to jump in 40 seconds and they're just getting to the gates. So it looks like it's going to be a little behind. What's the day, Smith? I think you are taking the piss. So. Yeah, I hope you've got 100 houses. Yeah, all right, hang on. For fuck's sake. So we got a Smooth Talk, 2 units on Smooth Talk here at 360, 370-ish. Smooth Talk. Where are we? Number 15. Yeah, okay. Sigourney. They came for Sigourney late. Granite Prince. What's next? Smooth Talk's got nothing. Dead set, nothing. Fourth. Who's that, number 9? Oh, misbehaving. No excuses there for Smooth Talk. That had every chance, just had nothing to give. Caulfield, race 6. We move on. Talking to JP is like chess. Dane, you're just trying to butter me up here, mate. Zip it up, all right? No, don't zip it up. I still like you talking. Who are your inside sources? Dane, I don't know if I can honestly... I don't know if I can be fucked talking, to be honest, Dane. Maybe. Caulfield. 2 minutes to the next at Caulfield. You've got some hard hitter questions for me, 7 people on. Yeah, I know it's only 7 people on, but what are some of the questions you got? I'm going to be jumping off pretty soon anyway, to be honest. What do we got? I'll be only on for probably another 10 minutes.
Two-part question. Does the system evolve over time in terms of the actual method of selecting runners? Yes. Yes, it is. It is evolving over time. Minor tweaks. I wouldn't say it's evolved massively, but there are definitely minor tweaks in terms of different, I guess, indicators. Let's call it. Yeah, different indicators and tightening of indicators and tightening of our own sort of internal rules. So we have our own sort of internal rules that we have, and they are continuously changing, expanding in some instances, tightening in other instances, becoming a little bit more like focusing individually on some tracks, playing different tracks a little bit differently, obviously. So yes, but the general crux of the system is staying very consistent, of course, but it is just sort of the minor tweaks. And I guess that's in terms of actually selecting the horses. There's obviously, I freak out when I'm on these things, they distract me. But in terms of, like, I guess probably the major changes definitely in terms of outlaying units from a sustainability point of view, taking into account bookies changing, individual bookmakers changing, the industry as a whole changing, you know, in terms of their leniency for bans, and obviously considering, you know, it's the system itself is seasonal as well, depending on, you know, in certain periods of the year where we take a more lenient approach to certain rules. In other periods of the year, we take a more strict approach, obviously looking at defence, sustainability, all that sort of jazz. So yes, I'd say the system is continuously evolving over time. But having said that if I just focused on the tips, then I'd be feeding into what Old Mate is saying, that we are a tipping service. The system is continuously evolving the other 90% all of the time. Our coaches are continuously evolving. The messages we are telling our members are continuously evolving. You only need to look at, all right, race is on. What do we got? We have a unit on Stay Focused and a unit on High Octane, number 1 and number 4. So we've got Blake Shin on High Octane and Dan Stackhouse on Stay Focused. And we are sitting 3rd and 4th. Bodyguard, obviously the main danger, and he's sitting out 3 wide, I think, so that's good. However, he does have the back of Stay Focused. High Octane, if you can get a run. High Octane's the red hat or the white hat? I can't fucking tell. I think it's the red hat. Needs a run. High Octane needs a run big time. Here comes Bodyguard. High Octane, what is going on with High Octane? Gee whiz. Wow, that's around 3 wide the trip and won by half a length. What was that race? Race 6. Race 6. Stay High Octane, 1 unit, and that lost. Stay Focused, 1 unit. And that hit a place. High Octane jumped. Definitely did not, I didn't tip it at 230. I think I was 260 when I tipped it. Stay Focused was about 350. What time we got? Corf Randwick, race 6, the next race in 15 minutes. Yeah, Dane, so continuing my question in terms of the tips, yes, the tips are continuously evolving, but the other 90% in short is evolving massively.
An example being, obviously we've removed daily results for a reason. The main reason being that if you this is the thing, and there is a little, the reason we've removed the daily results is remove the focus on it. Why does it matter? You're here for the long term. If you're here for the long term, who cares what an individual day happens? Now, I know people, they were getting a lot of criticism early days. People were like, oh, I still like to know how the day went. The fact that you still like to know means that there's a part of you, whether it's consciously, subconsciously, is still fixated on the short term. You still want to know, because if the system does have a fill up on a Saturday, you want to know, you want to be able to be like, yeah, the system had a fucking fill up. You want to brag, you want that ego hit, you want that sugar hit, you want to brag about a short-term result. And it's the same and the reason you want to know a day's result, because you want to know if the system's gone well, generally speaking. And if the system's gone poorly on any individual day, I hate how many times I've said day, but I'm using this purely to make an example. When the system's gone bad, then it's just going to get you down. You're just going to feel disappointed. You're going to be more likely to jump off. You're going to be more likely to be emotional. You're going to be more likely to chase your losses. You're going to be more likely to be frustrated. And all of those things are simply unnecessary. It's literally it takes a very, very strong person, in terms of, obviously, investors, strong investors, can lose, 10% of their bankroll and be like, I don't give a fuck, because I know in the long term it's going to make me profit. On any individual day, they could lose 10% of their bankroll, and they're like, I don't give a fuck. But people who aren't strong investors, strong-willed in terms of discipline, in terms of thinking long term, they're going to be inclined to think, fuck, I lost 10% of my bankroll. An investor doesn't see that. They just think, all right, whatever. They don't even think anything. So they're like, it's just another fucking data entry point. But people who aren't sort of strong-willed yet, who haven't built up that mental toughness, they're going to be like, I lost 10% of my bankroll, or I lost $1,200 today, or I lost $100. But it's like, it doesn't fucking matter. So literally remove daily results, because it does not matter. And the only thing that you're going to bring upon yourself is unnecessary frustration focusing on daily results. So that's why we have removed the daily results. And people are like, well, I still want to know. It's like, well, why do you still want to know? What difference does it make? The fact that you still want to know means you're opening the door and opening yourself up to feeling frustrated if the day hasn't gone the way you want it to go. And it doesn't matter how the day goes. In the long term, it does not fucking matter. Audio is nice and clear. That's good to hear. And I can speak from experience. It's like, it literally does not matter. Early days when I started match betting, I used to get frustrated. I remember very vividly one of the first days, this is going to sound silly, but I just launched into it, fully launched into it when I sort of realized the system worked. So I was sort of following on, I didn't build myself up from a $10 unit size. I was just straight into $150, $200 unit sizes. Obviously not good for sustainability, but it was a different game back then. And I remember the first 5 or 6 Saturdays that I hit the system hard, I think I made on average $1,000 profit every single Saturday, and I was just like, this is grouse. And then one Saturday I made $200 profit. This is going to sound stupid, but I made $200 profit. So I still profited on the day, and I was flat. I was actually flat about it. And then the next Saturday I lost $400, and I was like, this is what the fuck. And then I realized who cares? Literally who cares? Having a day where it's it doesn't go to plan. It's well, who cares? Because then in 6 months later, I remember thinking back to that day, and I was like, wow, I was so flat. And then I was like, why was I flat? I just in that moment of that day, I just brought upon so much stress and anguish for myself that 6 months later didn't exist, because the math says it wouldn't exist, because I would win long term. So it's anyway, it doesn't matter. And so yeah, so I've rambled on a little bit there, Dane. I've got a few comments. I've just rambled on there. Part 2, would that render past results and averages irrelevant because the past runners wouldn't have been selected with the evolved selection process? It's a good question, Dane. I know you said there was a follow-up to part 2, so I'm going to keep reading the comments before I answer that. So if the system evolves, doesn't that render past results and averages redundant because the past runners wouldn't have been selected with the new revolved strategy? Josh, g'day. All right. So, well, Dane, it's the past data that has been used to evolve the strategy. So if anything, I would say that it actually, the past results will further validate rather than make past results and averages redundant. It sort of like further validates the past results and averages, because the new strategies and the new evolution of the tips with the minor tweaks to, you know, rules and all that sort of jazz that I elaborated on, it would make the past results higher. And that's why we have tweaked it. We've used past results, past activity, past data to further evolve and shape the future tips and ideally the future results. So it's not like we're making decisions based on the past data that, and if we had have used these styles of, or these, if we had to use the rules that we plan to use as the system evolves in the past, our averages would have gone from 29 to 33 units a month or whatever it would be. So I actually, I'm interested to hear what you think about that, because I don't think it makes it redundant. I think it further validates it. We wouldn't be changing our rules. When's the next race? 325. We wouldn't be changing, you know, our rules, or not changing it, but tweaking rules and I'll just say rules, if the past data said that it wasn't the right thing to do. If we were coming up with all these completely, you know, completely new rules that wouldn't have worked off past results, then yes, it would make the past results redundant, but we're not doing that, and we never would do that. Yeah, I think that's all I got to say there. What's a day, Smith? Listen, bro, you can say all this about the short term, but how can you explain for the first time in your history you're picking losers on losers? This is not the first time in our history that we are picking losers on losers, mate. Like, there are periods where it's like, obviously this is probably over a 3-month period, probably, I think, one of the leanest 3-month periods I have. I think it might be the leanest 3-month period, but like in, what was it? If on the flip side to that, let me look at the results. We had in November and December last year, we had our largest ever month. It was our largest ever month. Yes, it was our largest ever month, and it was our second largest ever month, I'm fairly sure. So you think we're picking losers on losers, yet we've had in October last year and December last year, which are only 4 months ago and 2 months ago, we've had our largest and our second largest ever calendar month results. So, like, I don't know what you're saying. Like, yeah, I don't know what else to say, to be honest. Like, were those results based off picking losers on losers? Like, yes, it's just showing that the variance is a bit higher, but that's what's going to happen. Like, it's like records are meant to be broken. Like, we had a record month, and we had a period where I guess our leanest 3-month period might have been 40 units profit, and now it's 35 units profit. Obviously, it's gotten a little bit shorter. But on the flip side, we've had our 2 greatest calendar months. So yes, the lows are a bit lower and the highs are a bit higher, but it still averages out in the middle somewhere. And it just means that you got to ride a little bit deeper of a low, with a little bit deeper or a little bit taller of a high. So it just means that variance is a bit higher. But I wouldn't say this is the first time in our history where we've been tipping losers on losers. It's just that it's one of our more sharper negative trends on the graph, I suppose. Nothing to worry about. Like, that's part of the game. Like, it's a graph. It goes up. Sometimes it's going to go up like that. Sometimes it's going to go up like that. And we're just going through one of those periods. And it's periods like this that basically destroy gamblers. They fully destroy gamblers because they don't stick to their structure. They blow out. They lose their bankroll. They think it's, you know, like, they just can't handle it. They just can't handle it. So that's when they lose it all and they blow their bankroll. And if you've got $100,000 of assets to your name and you don't allocate it accordingly to ensure that you can handle the steepest dip, then eventually you bottom out. And then it's when you bottom out that the sharp rise comes, and you miss out on that sharp rise because you've bottomed out. And that's what happens with gamblers. But generally, they bottom out because their emotions get the hold of them. And instead of only dipping to here, they go, they spiral out of control. They dip all the way down here. They bottom out. They lose all their money, and then they miss that peak up. Yeah, can you lick a graph? I guess you could lick a graph. What sort of graph we talking? Imagine making an Insta with that username in your spare time. Yeah, I know. So wouldn't that be the case for the weekly or monthly results? Trucking good apparel. I'm not too sure what that question is regarding. The question following that is always, if the focus is 3 months minimum, why sell weekly and monthly subs? Tom and JP answered it, but would still be keen to hear your response on it too. But your new strategy has no sample size. Ooh, that's the next race. Randwick in 5 minutes. Why sell the weekly and monthly subs? It's a great question, Dane. The weekly and monthly sub is basically there. Yeah, I mean, we could get rid of it. There's definitely a correlation of people who sign up on a weekly sub and people who jump off 2 weeks later because they're on a weekly sub. They're looking for short-term fixes. So it definitely does set people up with the wrong mindset when they sign on to a weekly for sure. And that's definitely a huge reason to get rid of it. However, there are positive examples of people who sign on to a weekly because they just want to suss it out. They just want to get a taste of things. They just want to see what the fuck it's all about, because we are pretty poor at showing what goes on when you sign up as a member. People don't understand they get a coach. They don't understand they get access to all this content. They don't understand that they become part of the community. We're poor at showing that, so we're getting better at showing that. But selling or offering a weekly subscription allows people to basically dip the toes in, sniff around, see if they like it. And there's plenty of positive experience or positive stories where people have come in on a weekly. They're like, holy fuck, this service is legit. And then they upgrade onto a 3 or 6 monthly, get into platinum. And, had we not had that weekly there, because, they might not have got into it because it's, signing up or committing to a 3 month is a larger barrier for entry, of course, than a weekly. And so people don't want to commit to it. Now, you could argue, well, those people who don't want to commit, are they the right people? Well, more often than not, they're not. But there are probably, 1 in 10 people or 1 in 7 people who sign on to a weekly who do come in with the right mindset. They're just a little bit risk averse. So they only want to sort of commit $32 of their money initially. And then once they get value in straight away and they see the potential of it, then they commit. So it is a really fine balance. But that's basically my opinion of why we keep the weekly. So. Randwick race 6. I'll probably be jumping off the live after this race, to be honest, as well. Why don't you go back to your old strategy that you used to take in? Oh my God. New strategy has no sample size. It's the exact. I mean, the strategy has they're minor tweaks. It's like it's not going to be the difference between they're not going to be major differences. The tweaks that we make. As I said, the crux of the system exists, and the minor tweaks that are made aren't going to be. It's the difference between potentially getting an extra 1 or 2% ROI or an extra 1 or 2 units a month on average is what we tweak when we change up the strategy. So it does have a full sample size in my opinion. It's not like it's not going to change the results substantially. It's just going to slowly improve things. I don't know. Why don't you go back to your old strategy that you used to take in 70 units a month, mate?
yeah, it's getting a little bit silly, to be honest. Get a 12-month sub, yeah, exactly. Get a 12-month sub and get 300 units profit. Benny G, just pick the fave. Just do that, mate. Get a lifetime sub for 15K. Yeah, we should have had a lifetime sub, but we All right, well, I think that'll probably. Yeah, I think I'll be done here on the lives. That's the game will change. The game is changing. The game is always changing. Who knows what it'll look like in 5 years' time? What do you reckon it'll look like, Dane, in 5 years' time? Yeah, maybe. Obviously, UK is the more mature market. So I probably am closer aligned to thinking that we would follow the same trend as the UK market, but I'm starting to believe otherwise. $5 max stake bonus back, your prediction. Yeah. The way that I'm seeing it, to be honest, is rather than decreasing promos, the only reason to decrease bonuses is if the government keeps increasing the taxes on bonuses, and obviously they do. Yeah, Canada, USA is still untapped, of course. They're 10 years behind us. But yeah, if the government, this is where the government needs to understand that they're fucking killing the industry by, basically massively increasing taxes. They think that someone explained it to me really well the other day, and they said that the government, by increasing all these taxes, they just want a bigger slice of the pie, right? They want a bigger slice of the gambling pie. So that's why they're increasing taxes on bonuses, turnover, whatever the fuck the taxes are that they increase. Anyway, I just want to watch this race. Number 5, Moravia, is who we're on. Parlay, man. Well, Griff's done, but Cabalas is, Moravia's done. Moravia will probably take 3rd. Might bet Pips. I reckon we're going to finish 4th again. We are going to finish 4th. Fuck, we've had a few 4ths. Cabalas was 850 fixed and 580 on the tab. Yeah, Dane, I guess finish what I was saying. What was I saying? Yeah, the government's increasing taxes on bonuses and shit, and obviously that's going to be the thing that will kill the bookies and kill bonuses and, potentially end match betting. But yeah, the government just need to fucking realise what they're doing by massively increasing the taxes, because they're actually killing the industry by doing so. Like, the government have no fucking idea, in my opinion. You only had to look at basically the inquiry that was happening last Feb and March, which obviously was happening a lot before that, but it really broke into the mainstream news last Feb and March. And the questions they were asking the CEO of Sportsbet and the CEO of Tabasana, they had no bloody idea what they were talking about. The lady that was running it, she had the most idea, the chair, let's call it. I think that's what they call it. But unfortunately, she passed away. So she was the one that was the best, and she actually had the best idea of what was going on. But
yeah, the government, that's probably a little bit unrelated, but it just sort of shows where the government's head is at and their understanding of the racing industry. It's fucking nowhere. So they're looking for a bigger slice of the gambling pie. Of course they do, because they want more money, they want more taxes. But in doing so, they're debilitating the industry and killing the industry. So they might have a bigger slice of the pie, but the pie is shrinking, and they don't realise that. So that's what's going to kill bonuses off, is if they keep increasing if they keep increasing the taxes on bonuses. But I think what we're seeing as a reaction from the bookies is that they're just decreasing the market percentages. They're all like increasing the market percentages. Instead of 120, 130% markets, they're moving into 140, 150, 160, 200% markets. So the bookies are taking more edge there in the markets to counter the increased taxes on the bonuses. So it looks like that's where it's going. Obviously that, eats into the edge, but that will happen and evolve over time. So who knows? Anyway, I'm going to call it there. Enjoy, everyone. Have a good day. Bookie owners loading up their mates' accounts with 50K in bonuses to turnover. Pay them the tax plus more. Keep some for yourself. Bookie owners loading up their mates' accounts with 50K in bonuses to turnover. Pay them the tax plus more. Is this speculation? That's the biggest drama they want to stop, as far as I know. Pistol Pete, no worries, mate. I'm not sure how long you were listening for. It sounds like you were listening. Cough, Ultrabet, cough. Yeah, Ultrabet, fucking, they love it. Interesting. Not exactly speculation though. Yeah, interesting, Dane. Fucking hell, I just freaked out with that Doomben race 5. Pistol Pete, no worries, mate. Hopefully you learn a thing or two, mate. If there's any more sort of, please say hi to Seda. I don't know who Seda is. I'm trying to get my head around all this info. Reach out, man. Reach out on Instagram or something if you want to chat. If you got any questions, we're very active on Instagram. Send us a DM. Tom will generally get back. If not, I'll be. If you send us a message, for the next couple of hours, I will be able to get back to you. Otherwise, we're always sort of active there. Got any other questions? Feel free to reach out. Cheers for listening, Pete. Yeah, let's catch up. Please say hi to Seda. Well, you know where we are, Dane. Seen some crazy shit. There is a lot of crazy shit going on. A lot of crazy shit. It's very interesting though. It's definitely a loophole. I don't quite understand how that could work for. How long? What, today? I'm actually going home. I'm going to finish off the card at home. All right, that's enough. Not today. Send us a message, we can. I'm more than happy to hear your stories. They sound interesting. Have a good day though, mate. Cheers, guys.